addition.
Okay.
Right?
Wait, so you're saying you have to find the function, is that what you're saying?
Well, define it.
Define it, okay. Understood.
So, like a function can be like add, subtract.
And so it always dictates the rule, like all the rules, a function dictates the rules that those, the one above us applies for.
Exactly.
So recursion is the functional definition or whatever, it defines everything else.
Yes.
It's like you're a mode you're in a way, is that a way to think about it?
But the only way to solve it is by
continuing to do it forever. Yeah. So what you're saying is by solving is like we use recursion in situations where we need something to keep burrowing.
Yeah,
and that's why we use
it. The answer, and then it'll return it back up.
Okay, I feel like I understand. It's like, oh, it just needs to keep cycling through data or whatever, performing this. Okay, sure.
Yeah, so you also have another function that we'll call main, right?
Okay. So these are just arbitrary names.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then so right here, we'll just tell the code to run main.
Right.
So main will tell you blah 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 blah. You're looking for like 5. So then it'll tell you to find 5 using addition, which is.
So it's just another function. It's just referring to another function.
Yeah, it's referring to this function. So like you're starting off with the number 1. So the base case would be if the number is equal to 5, return, right? Because it's equal to 5.
Right.
Else, do 1 plus the number.
Right. Understood. So just keep going and then. So.
Right. And then then you would call it again. You would call this function again inside of itself.
To end it?
No, to make it keep going until it eventually gets to 5.
So you're just closing the clause or whatever. Is that the way to think about it? Functionally.
Like.
It's like the phrase is complete or the function, like, I don't know.
No, it's like, so you're starting off with 1, you're looking for 5. You're calling the function.
Right.
The function says, okay, you're at
I see
number 1.
It's just making it infinite until it finds it. Understood. So just because within the function itself, it's telling itself to do it again.
Yeah.
Understood.
Until it gets
where you want to go. So my question is, so is it because of the order that you're in, is it just go 5 and then do addition? When you do addition, it's like keep doing addition. So it's just the way to show keep doing 5 until you find it. Like that's the way it would play out.
Yeah, that's exactly what it would do.
Got it.
So if you don't have what this is called like the base case, it'll go on infinitely many times.
So if you don't have the number, the thing you're looking for.
Yeah, if you don't define like what you're looking for.
Define the parameters, okay. Got it.
So and if you also like do this incorrectly, it'll.
Sounds like a big boo-boo.
Yeah.
It's bad. Like it just seems like you could like mess something up pretty bad.
Yeah. I've broken my program a couple of times.
I believe it. So what you're describing right now is recursion.
Yes. That's
so. Recursion is a way to use functions, like a way functions can interact. Is that what you mean?
Well, yeah.
So like what you just showed me, where like the thing is asking you to do another function within that function is asking to repeat itself. That's recursion.
Yep.
Okay, understood. Yeah, sure.
Okay.
Great.
So I am doing the exact same thing with this because down here, like say that this is I'll call this like search maze or whatever.
Yeah, whatever name.
Right here, it's search maze. I would have called that in the main function.
What do you mean? Wait.
So I have my main function. It's saying like, hey, how are you? This is what it's supposed to be doing.
Right.
And then like give me a maze or something like that, and I will
so
solve
just like put me to work.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then after you input the work, it'll start. So it'll say, okay, now that I have this, I'm going to go into this function, and then this function will say, okay, where am I starting?
Right.
Okay, I'm starting right here.
And so that's why you have all that.
Yeah.
So this exists, and then so everything we talked about before is just okay. You just copied and pasted that on top of what we were just talking about earlier.
Yeah.
Okay. Great.
Okay. So now it's saying, okay, I'm starting right here. What should I do? And then it'll do everything that says, and then it'll eventually get right here.
Right.
And then saying, oh, well, that's not right there. Let me do myself again.
So the reason why you described all this is because would you think we have to manipulate these functions in order to, like, write these functions differently in order to solve this?
Yep.
It's not going to be in this top part, you don't think?
Well, it is this top part. This was just.
But it's just the way to
it.
explain. Okay, how it interacts.
Yeah.
Interesting. So there's layers.
Yep.
This is fun. It's like a little. Oh, it's such a puzzle box. Oh, this makes so much sense. Okay. Okay. So like I have some understanding. Okay.
So what my thing is doing is that once it gets to right here, it's saying, okay, let me go to the next one.
Right.
But because this layer is not connected with that layer, I can't say, oh, you can't go back to that one.
It's not connected. What do you mean by that? Like it's.
Like, if you think about it,
they're just
like
separate.
In Inception.
Sure, it's a different dream.
Yeah, it's a different.
And is that
dream.
just because it's a different address?
Yeah.
Okay.
So it's a different dream within that dream. So you know you
Understood.
can't.
So you can't go back. You can't go back up, or.
Yeah. To tell it, oh, I need this. Like
Okay.
you can
So you've already moved on from it in a sense.
Yeah.
Or, okay.
So there are things that you can pass through. Like you can before you go into the dream, like you can have your knapsack.
Right. You can already have it with you. It's like, oh, I'm gonna put this up once I'm behind it. That's what you're saying earlier. Okay, understood.
Yeah, but
it's just
like,
okay.
After you have went into the other dream with your knapsack,
Right.
like everything else.
And the only way you'd go back is if you encounter the conditions that the program would tell you to go back for.
Yep. And
There's
then
no
you can get back to
conscientious-
your real body.
Got it. Understood. Great. That's a great way to put it. Okay. So this is why I feel like I understand some of the limitations now as to why you can't do certain things.
Yeah.
Interesting.
So.
Interesting.
Wait. Maybe. I'll try it. I'll just try putting this in the knapsack.
What do you mean? Putting 8 in the knapsack?
Yeah, like putting the previous
Right.
spot in the knapsack. But
Because they're individual.
yeah, but I didn't want to do that at first because, as I was saying, like with the like they can do different mazes. Like if
Right.
they
So
make
it's
a bigger
configured
maze,
differently.
yeah, if it goes down the wrong path, then it won't go back up to go to the right one.
So just you're saying by the way certain, like a different configuration, you're not sure if it would work.
Yeah.
Basically. Okay. But my question is, oh, so is it like the kind of thing where like, what if it's touching 2 different ones, or?
Yeah.
Understood. So it just wouldn't be enough. It's not a clean solution.
Yeah.
And so, in your past, when you've solved this stuff, is it always like a clean, elegant solution, or do you like stumble your way into like a, oh, thank God, I like.
It's usually a clean thing. It's just that
That's the point of the lesson, right?
Yeah, this isn't a typical way of thinking. This is why it's our final project.
This is hard.
Yeah.
Seemingly, I don't have really any real context, but I don't know anything about this stuff. But.
Like if you see it from a computer's point of view, it's like, oh, I just have to do this and I can do it. Like it's a simple way of thinking.
Execute, yeah.
But because of the
If you know
way
every
we live our
step.
life,
I remember someone described it to me. Like, tell someone to brush their teeth. Just do every minute detail. And that's obviously not how I am, but it's fun. It's fun to think about. Cause I don't know, I took like a Gen Ed IS 101. It wasn't anything. I've never done any programming in my life. I can't actually do the actual thing. Like, the whole idea of translating all of this, as you described it to me, I understand. But then translating that into the actual language stuff, it's just not, I'm just like, I just don't want to do it. I'm just like, oh my God, it's so tedious. I don't have the patience. But the nature of it is fun. And I like knowing, because then when I interact with people that the world is in, I can kind of understand that mindset and be like, oh, I totally get how you got here, or whatever.
yeah, which is why you understand, like, there's usually a certain type of person that
wants this, is drawn to it. It makes perfect sense. Someone who wants the logical, just wants the math on some level, just math, like, in a sense. Interesting. My layman having to know nothing is that wouldn't it be? Obviously, I don't know anything, but my first impression was the whole like changing how it makes decisions as opposed to trying to add something into the process. Do you know what I mean? Like the whole knapsack thing or the other. It seems like those are limited because it could change the configuration. Whereas if you can always just tell it. Well, here's my last question. Is it always going to be a left down, right down? Is that stable? Or it could just be anything?
It could be anything.
Oh my god. It's so annoying.
Yeah, so even
So it has to do solidly like a second opening, but it's not. So what you're saying is once you go into from 4 to 8, it doesn't remember going to 4 anymore.
Yeah.
Got it.
But I'm pretty sure I can tell it to remember 4.
But just 4.
Yeah,
but the problem. Okay, well maybe. Well, so your issue with that is that you don't know how they're going to be configured, so you can't tell it what to remember.
Yeah.
Is that the thing? You're going into this blind. Oh, okay.
So it'll just be that it can't go to the previous position, but if it like runs into a wall, then...
So it has to do with the walls, doesn't it? Like some kind of. I mean, the problem is there a configuration where, with the order that we have, it would go the very first one it hits would be open. Because what you're talking with the walls thing is like, if that's not true, if you don't have to have, if there isn't going to be a configuration where it hits first, which I'm assuming isn't, it would. I'm assuming it would do everything we could ever imagine, right? Is that like a good rule? Okay, never mind. I was gonna say something about how like maybe hitting the wall is a condition. Like, well, once you've hit a wall, you go to the next one. Do you know what I mean? Like that kind of thing. But I'm assuming in some configuration it wouldn't work.
To the previous one. Like here.
Interesting. Oh, that's interesting. Have you thought about that already?
Not really. See, that this is what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
So, this is a program that I saw of it. So they start right here, then they come around, then the program goes this way. It's like, oh, I've already been that way, and then I don't exactly know how they do it. Which
goes back and then continues. It doesn't go back to where it was.
Yeah.
And you don't know in the code, really? Oh, okay. But it's obviously shown to you. That's the way, right? So like you already know that that's the way. It's just.
Yeah, and then so it's like, okay, now let me go this way.
Interesting. So why does it choose to wait? What was the one before it?
So that's it coming back.
Oh, so it knows it never went there. That's. Well, obviously I don't have any way to know it.
This code.
Because like my question is, why did it go this way instead of just going up?
It must be the like the order that they told it to search, like the right, bottom, left, top.
So this is just random, you think?
Well, if they did the right, bottom, left, top, like it's like, oh well, right's closed.
Right.
I've already been to bottom, so let me go left.
So I guess the reason why I'm asking if it's like random with the order is that my assumption is with the different configurations, it wouldn't do the thing you want it to all the time. Where it's going, because like obviously it's going to the one way it's never been before, but in a different, if you flipped it, wouldn't that not necessarily, you'd have a different order? Well, I guess, actually never mind. Maybe it is the same. It would still work.
And then.
But so the secret sauce that's missing is the whole "I've been here before" thing. Like, are you sure that you had just missed like a section or something? Like.
Well, this isn't something that our teachers gave us. Like, this is something I found.
Oh, you found.
And like, from what they gave us, like, we don't have that.
Okay, gotcha. And you've done your Googling and all that stuff.
Yeah.
Dude.
So, I think explaining it to you has helped me understand it better.
Yeah, dude. Because I know obviously I'm not gonna be able to. Because there's no way I don't know how to manipulate it. But hopefully, just throwing the ideas out there. And